Good evening, race fans, and welcome to HBR22. Tonight we have a two-lap race around Watopia Flat Reverse, which will be 2 laps of 10.3 kilometers each, with 54 meters of elevation, giving us a total of 20.6 kilometers in distance and 108 meters elevation. From the pens, we will turn right through the banner, taking a short climb before turning left towards the S's, and then over the bridge onto the sprints, climbing towards the switchbacks, then taking on the switchbacks, and then hanging a left after the pier, through the underground tunnel, climbing out, and then we will turn right towards downtown and the banner. Tonight I am joined by Lee Levy and Gordon Sloan, and our racers will be Mark Fosbrook, Gordon Buck, Larry Japson, and our man on the course will be Ben Poynton. Lee, it's a flat course. How do you think it's going to go?
Well, I think it's going to be pretty balls out from the beginning here. I'm looking for Larry to put down some serious power. He's got a lot to give it to everybody.
Gordon, what would your tactics be?
Yeah, pretty much the same. It's a nice flat course. There's not any major inclines on it. There's a couple of sort of pinch points, probably the back end of the essays. The coming out the tunnel with the 2 points, I expect to see attacks, but I think it'll be the usual crazy start, just trying to hang with whatever quick group they can, and then just hold on for those two pinch points. But first lap, I'll be expecting to be quite not easy, but just holding it together, just see how riders get on. There's not too many high cat A's and B's, so I think we might end up with a big bunch in Group C, and certainly for the first lap, and expecting a sprint finish as well.
And we are off, and I'm following Mark Fosbrook tonight, who's set off at a fairly crazy pace, holding four or so watts per kilo. But we're going to swap straight out to the front. Lee, what's going on your side?
Just following Larry right here. It was on Max Schmansky, who was leading out of there, coming out with about 700 watts out of the pen. That was pretty good. Pretty good breakaway here. Gonna drop back to, I lost Larry. Oh, there he is. He's on me. Yeah, Larry's throwing down about 300 watts. He's running in 12th place right now.
Fozzie's made a good start. We're definitely seeing a little bit of a split we're seeing two definite splits now. So we're looking at Mark in the third group. He's hanging on to around about 2.5 watts per kilo, which is pretty much his FTP. But he's got a nice group at the moment of, I would say, probably about 6 or 7 riders. We might be grouping back to another couple, but we are just out of the start-finish straight, turning left now towards the S's. Gordon.
Hello, yeah, I've just jumped forward to watch Gordon Buck, who seems to be on a bit of a mission off the front at the moment on his own. Speaking before the race, he was looking to see if I think Kevin Flood had signed up, and he has, so there's quite a group of 4 or 5 on the front now. I think he's going to get caught. Just by the look of it, I don't think we are doing reverse. I think we're doing the forward route of this course, so that might mix things up a wee bit. We're currently heading for the tunnel with Gordon Buck and 4 riders chasing him. Looks like the rest of the A and the B riders.
Well, this is all very confusing. So on Zwift Power and in the companion app, it says we're doing Watopia Reverse, but it turns out we may not be. Excellent. So I'm still with Fozzie. He's got what appears to be a pretty good group. I'm going to go with possibly as many as 10 people, but we're just going to have a quick switch to our man on the course, Ben. Ben Poynton, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Managed to tuck in between a couple of guys, pushing some watts. So, surprising myself at this point, but we'll see how it goes.
Keep pushing. How is our friend Larry Japson getting on?
Looks like he's in about the second group. There's one breakaway on the front there, you got Gordon's out by himself. Then you get about 4 or 5 right behind him, and Larry is in the next group right behind. So coming out of this tunnel, there'll probably be an attack coming to try and make a gap over the distance here. There's quite a good space between the front group.
While we've been talking, Fozzie just lost the back of his group, but he's been immediately joined by a group just behind him. They are definitely chasing down the group in front. So I think we're going to have a very large bunch here. And on a flat course, I think it's probably to be expected. We'll have, I imagine, quite a few fairly large bunches without any significant hills. From Gordon Sloan to Gordon Buck. Gordon Sloan, how is Gordon Buck getting on?
He's doing all right. I mean, he's getting caught up by that group behind. I think he always was going to. There was 4 or 5 strong A and B riders, so they're just getting on the back end of his wheel now. Hopefully it's not taking too much out of him, just trying to hold them at bay, because I don't think that was really an option. But yeah, it's 4 or 5 right on his wheel now, including Ben is just catching up behind. I think that'll be okay for the moment. We'll get the climb out the tunnel just round the corner. Will be the next sort of pinch point, see what happens there. But I think he's probably best just to try and sit in and take a bit of a breather, because he has hit out the first 4 or 5 minutes completely alone, which will have taken a wee bit out of his legs. And this forward route that we're doing, I reckon is probably slightly harder actually. You've got the climbs out the tunnels and the switchbacks, and also the essays as attack points, so still plenty of racing to go.
Good stuff. Fozzie is now in a group, I'd say probably about 15 or 20, and they're still trying to chase down the group in front when they seem to be closing very slowly. I thought they were holding steady for a while, but I think they might just be bringing them back in. And yeah, it certainly looks like that is going to happen.
Just back to Gordon Buck here. Looks like he's making an attack on this climb out the tunnel, up at the 8-9 watts per kilo. So he seems to be on a bit of a mission today to TT it away from the rest of the group. I'm not sure whether he thinks maybe a sprint or something won't hold up at the end, but he's off the front again by 2 or 3 seconds. So we'll see how long he lasts this time.
Larry's trying to make a break out of this out of the tunnel here. He's running in 9th now, trying to bridge that gap. There is quite a bit of gap between the that second group there. It's quite a large second group, though. They might be able to do some damage if they can hook up and streamline it.
Yeah, this group that Fozzie's in is absolutely enormous. I'd say we've comfortably got 20 riders in there, possibly even as many as 30. Coming up towards 4 kilometres, just going over the bridge. See the windmills in the distance, and we're just heading into a little gravel section. But yeah, no, we're talking about a pretty big group here. I mean, with all the dust being kicked up, you can't see all of it, but yeah, it's huge. Ben, how's things up front?
Well, unsurprisingly, they dropped me. So I'm just sitting up and waiting for this second bunch. They're about 10 seconds behind me, so it's conserve some energy. Make a finish. So, yeah.
Good plan. Gordon, how's Mr. Buck hanging on?
He's still hanging on the front, or let me just check. My screen's jumped away, but let me find him again. I could just see Ben was just dropped off the back of this group. That's certainly the best idea for him to sit up.
I think we may have lost Gordon. He did say that there were some internet connectivity issues for him, so I think we might have seen the last of him tonight.
We might have done. I'll switch back to the group behind him, which we've got Max Szymanski and Kevin Flood in it, and they're going pretty strong. I mean, they're all A and B riders. The next rider behind them is Ben, in the following group, but I think the front group's gone now. I don't think anyone will catch them, and if we have lost Gordon Buck, it will probably finish with this front group altogether. I'm not expecting too many attacks on the first lap.
He's still showing on companion app.
Oh, he has appeared again. He's back, so he's now got a 5-6 second gap. Yeah. He's just crossing the bridge, approaching the essays. So again, I don't think he's maybe getting quite enough of a gap to hold them away. Strong chase group, so I expect to see them catch him again, just whether it's taking anything out of his legs, all these attacks.
Yeah, that's a pretty staunch group to hold off there. and quite a distance to go.
How's Larry doing?
Let me fall back to him. Let me see what Larry's up to here. Larry is, here we are, running in 20th now, but he's in that massive group, so you're going to be some changing positions really, really quick here. That group is doing fairly well. I mean, they're running around 2.5, 2.7, so they're definitely pulling some good speed with 23 miles an hour.
We're seeing some split groups from Fozzie's pack. We've now got a larger group a little bit further in front with a group of a couple. Actually, one of them looked like they've just dropped out, but looks like we're just going to with a solo just in front. And then there's a further group behind of, I think, probably 3 or 4 racers. But just coming onto the switchbacks, so about halfway through the first lap. We've got Gordon Buck back again. How's he doing?
We do, yeah. We're on the switchbacks now, and as predicted, the group has caught him up. So we're just waiting to see whether he tries another attack or whether he's probably better to sit in. I think that's what I do in this situation. This group behind him is just too strong. There's 4 or 5 of them. You'd really have to put out a lot of watts to distance and stay away, and there's still a whole lap and a half to go. So I think his best plan is just sit with them and rest up a wee bit, and maybe try tacks on the second lap if he thinks that's the best option rather than waiting for a sprint. So, yeah. 4 or 5 of them all grouped together going over the top of the switchbacks. And he is right on the back of the group, so hopefully he hasn't tired himself out with those attacks, and he can hold with them to get a breather.
Boy, that front group has really opened up quite a distance between that second group.
Yeah, Fozzie's groups, I'd say probably about 10 or so riders now, and he just needs to try and hang in there for as long as he possibly can just to keep himself away from any of your riders behind. And we're definitely seeing some big splits between the groups now. I mean, this group's holding quite steady at the moment, but the group in front's now probably, I guess, probably 10, 15 seconds in front now. So
at least, yeah.
Yeah, so he's gonna have to dig deep and hang on as long as he can. He's got some friends in there. We can see Lisa Jones, whose birthday it was last weekend. Tom Wolfe is there as well. And we've got a really, really good turnout from the herd this weekend. We had, I think, probably best part of 15, 20 riders signed up from the herd. So that's always good to see. Weather looks abysmal, a bit like cycling in England. But we are now through the switchbacks, and we will...
1 minute and 29 seconds is the break.
Yeah. So yeah, huge. But we're now Fozzie's now heading towards the S's, so that could split up the group a little bit more. But we'll see how it goes. Back to Gordon.
So Gordon Buck's just been dropped off the back a wee bit just as we pass the sprint banner. He is making quite an effort to get back on. I think he has to get back on really here at this point, or he won't remain with this group. So we're just approaching the start of the essays. He's managed to get back on, but we'll see what the hill takes out of him, or whether it was just a plan and he's having another attack up the hill. We'll see in a moment. Certainly in this front group, they're just pulling more and more away, but there's no chance for any riders on their own. So it's just a case of sticking with the group, I think, for the remainder of this lap, and then see how the second lap plays out. Which there's maybe not attacks going on up this hill, but they're certainly up in the pace. And through the essays, we'll just see if we'll keep this one together.
Looks like Ben Poynton, you're hanging in a pretty enormous group at the moment. How are you feeling?
Yeah, not too bad in this group. Sitting about 2.5, 3 watts, 3 watts per kilo. Fairly comfortable sort of pace. It's just trying to hold it. Just sitting here as long as I can. See what we go. See what happens.
Still a long way to go.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't look like anything too crazy is going to happen from here yet.
Good luck. Lee, what are you seeing at the moment?
That large second group is they're just vying for who wants to pull this gaggle of guys. I mean, we've got probably 20 guys in this group here. And Larry's all over the place. He's up at the front of it right now, running in 10th place overall, 11th place overall. But they have quite an enormous gap to make up at a minute 35.
Looking at Fozzie, that group, and the second group must be sort of 15 riders or so. Can see that there is a group about sort of 25 seconds in front, but Fozzie's group's still fairly sizable. They're just onto the S's now. Fozzie's climbing up about sort of 2.5 to 3 watts a kilo. Like I say, it's a good group. 8 kilos down. 8 kilos. 8 kilometers down. We've got about 12.5 to go. Still anyone's. Gordon.
Yeah, so we've just come out the essays. There was second or two gaps open up here and there, but all these riders were strong and closed it down straight away. We're now back onto the start-finish sprint line. Again, looks like how many riders? I think we've got six or seven riders in this group.
7 looks like, yep.
7 by the look of it, and they're all just sticking together absolutely, just marking any moves now. I think Gordon's maybe realised that he's not going to get away and has not made any attacks since his first couple. So heading on the flat part, I don't expect much action at the moment with this group. Probably the exit to the tunnel, the water tunnel later on is probably the next point where we're going to see someone attack. But again, I don't see anyone getting away from this group, at least probably till we get back around to the S's again. They're all strong riders and able to close gaps if needed.
That looks like it's a great effort from Gordon to actually get back in, because I thought once they dropped him, that was going to be pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, he just dropped 2 or 3 seconds just coming over the S's through the Italian village and sprint, but he managed to get back on and actually push to the front. So they're not going at a crazy pace. It's going up and down, but it's probably between 3 to 4 watts for A's and B riders. It does seem a mix. It's not always the same rider on the front, so hopefully they're all getting a wee bit of a rest, and I'm expecting some attacks on the inclines, and then most likely a sprint finish with at least 2 or 3 of them, I would have thought, at the end. But certainly the group behind is just dropping further back, so it is a case of hanging on with this group. If you get dropped, that's probably going to be a race over.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to want to drop out of that draft, because the gap is growing. I mean, it's 151 now coming down the Ocean Boulevard, coming up to the start-finish banner. Yeah, Larry's running in 9th place still, so he's pretty close to the front of the attack portion of this thing. We'll see what they do on this second lap. I'm thinking that they're going to make a break when they get to those S's and see some serious power put out.
Yeah, I'm expecting possibly some attacks on the start of the S's. It's always a good point. Some of the riders, especially in this front group, don't have the power, so they're maybe thinking a longer range attack might be an idea.
Yeah,
some real sprinters up here as well. So
could well be that. Could well be that the first climb of the S's, which is the longest one, that could be the best point for an attack, or it could just come down to a sprint at the end.
I think it'll be a mixture. Certainly, speaking to Gordon before the race, he was wary of some of the riders, thought he might need to attack further out. Probably why he attacked at the start, but probably sensible now to stick with the group, and we'll just see how we get on.
And Fozzie is just about to come up to the line for the end of the first lap. Currently in 32nd place out of 73, but he's got a group of 7 that I can see. I think there might be a couple more behind, so it's definitely going to be fast. And we are like just a couple seconds away from the banner now, and someone's using their feather just to discard that power up with the hope of getting an aero. But yeah, first lap down, 1 to go.
Yeah, that is the other problem. Well, not problem, but we don't know what any of these riders have got in power up. And that's a big factor as well, and depending how you might finish your ride. If you've got that aero power up, then you might be willing to leave it right to the end for the sprint. But without an aero power up, it can be very hard to win a sprint on these races.
Yeah, I haven't seen very many power ups. I don't think I've seen one used yet.
No, I've not seen any with this group at the front, so I think they're probably all saving them for either the inclines or the aero power up at the end. I believe there's probably only 1 power up in this race. Maybe 2, 1 for the sprint as well. So
So they'll be free. You'll get one for each sprint and one for lap banner. Just talking about the lack of power ups. I mean, like I say, we just had someone using their feather to get rid of it. We did actually see someone burn an arrow, which was an interesting tactical decision.
Yeah, certainly in a race like this, although you get 3 power ups, I'd be quite tempted to keep an arrow once I have it.
Yeah,
It's just such an advantage on the sprint. So.
yeah, that front group is pretty tight together. I mean, it's a nice pack. They're just playing with it. They're all playing cat and mouse right now.
Yep, they're all cat and mouse. We're just about just passing the Jarvis tree, so just round the corner in a moment. We'll see if anyone goes for the attack out the tunnel, but even then, I think it's a bit far out. They'd have to hold a really high power to keep away from this chase group.
Yeah, it seems like they're holding back. We're running around 3.6, 3.3. So it seems like they're trying to save themselves a little bit.
Certainly, someone in the group, that'll probably be their limit, but there's some A riders in here as well that can hold certainly over 4 for this sort of distance. So they probably are just sitting in, waiting, ready to attack later on.
Yeah, the second group is about 9 riders. I'm looking at the ocean. Apparently, it's important to Zwift that I look at the ocean. But yeah, there's about nine riders now in this second group that they're still holding strong. So I don't know if they're going to be able to come anywhere as close to that first group unless somebody breaks apart. They're just going to have to crack like eggs.
Just going to quickly switch over to our man on the course, Ben Poynton. Ben, I can see you're still in quite a big group. What's the plan?
My plan?
Yeah,
sit
your
right
plan.
where I am till about 200, 300 meters to go. Then throw all the watts. So try to get off the front. I don't want to be on the front right now, so just going to sit up a little bit, see if anyone else is silly enough to come past me.
Gordon just made an attack off the front
Yeah.
there.
So at the front, I mean, we saw a
Again.
few of the riders go into the orange and the red, so we've got Gordon,
good
another
attack.
rider off the front, but again, it's all going to group back up. The chase group is going up in the 6s and 7s to close these gaps, so I'm not sure if it's just a leg tester to see if anyone came with him or not, but we're all grouping up. We're maybe going to lose one rider off the back, but it's still going to be a strong group of 5 or 6, I reckon.
Looks like Fozzie's group settled down a bit. They're all holding sort of around about 2 watts a kilo, maybe sort of 2.5 tops. Fozzie's just happily sitting on the back wheel at the moment. We're just through 12.5 kilometers, so we've got about 8 to go, just over the 20-minute mark. Same group of about 7 or 8 riders. Could well be like this to the end.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much action here on the front till certainly probably not even the S's. Well, probably not, sorry, the switchbacks before the S's. Probably more likely the S's will be the next attack point. Although they are having a bit of a go at each other every now and again. But just waiting for the inclines and then the sprint finish. I think is what's going to happen here.
Yeah, the front group did try and start a little breakaway, but they got reeled back in.
Yeah, they're all very strong. I mean, all these riders can push out 6, 7, 8 watts a kilo if needed for a spell of time to close these gaps, and they know how important it is to keep together. So I think it's going to be really tough to get away and stay away.
Looks like Larry's doing a cracking job of hanging on to the second group.
Absolutely, yeah. He's doing really well back there. They're running some pretty good power over there. Now running through the mud, thanks to that new Zwift resistance there. I guess it's not new now, but it still messes with your mind when you're pushing out a lot of power and not going anywhere.
Any news from the front, G?
Again, same. We're just heading towards the switchbacks. Group of 6 still going along. I'm just having a look at the sprints now, or their stats in theory on Zwift power. I think Gordon Buck's still got a great chance. Just looking at pure numbers, he has the highest sprint, but all comes down to position and power ups as well. There's quite a few good sprinters in this group, so I'm expecting quite a fast finish when it comes to it. Not expecting breakaways, but it might happen. But I think they've managed to conserve enough energy that we'll end up in a sprint finish.
Looks like you got one trying off the front there.
We've got Carlito, I think. Again, I think they're going to catch him up. It's only a second. He's not pushing enough. He'd
There
really
goes
have to go
Gordon.
into the red. And Gordon's
Gordon's
just
going after
closing
him.
that gap, but he's just pulling the rest of the riders with him. And it's all just going to bunch back up. I think to get away from this group, you'd have to go into the red numbers for a good 5, 10, 15 seconds to close any sort of gap.
Yeah, I think the only way you're going to drop him is a good 10-second.
And Gordon Buck's making a bit of a push there at the front, but he has backed
is.
off. He managed to maybe get a 5 or 10 metre gap, but he's slowing up again. So I don't know whether he was just trying them to see what happens behind him, but
It's got a
they're
3-second
testing
gap
each other
building.
at the moment. Depends how he gets over the top of this hill, or whether they decide to close it down or let him go.
Yeah, looks like a decent attempt at a break. But I mean, like you say, Gordon, the groups on this course will be pretty king. So we'll see how this one develops.
They're just starting to close them down now before the top of the hill. So whether Gordon puts his foot down and tries to stay away, or no, by the look of it, they are all catching him up. This could even be an attack rather than a catch up. There's 2 or 3 of them come right past Gordon and trying to keep their foot down.
Wow,
So we might have a split in the group here. They're starting to, I can see some 9-10 watts per kilo going out. So at the moment we've got a front 2-3 riders, including Gordon Buck, and then there's quite a split forming behind that. Looks like, front 3's been split right in half.
Yeah, that's broke. That's a breakaway for sure.
Meanwhile, Fozzie's just gone over the 15-kilometre marker, starting to approach 25 minutes of this race now, and he is just taking the long looping turn before he gets to the switchbacks. So just over 5k to go. Still the same group. I think they might have picked up 1 or 2 more riders that have dropped off the other group in front, but it's pretty much as you were where we are here. How's Larry getting on?
Larry's doing well. He's in the backside of this large group. They're still working through the S's, and they're just marking their time. I'm not sure if they're watching the leaderboard or if they're planning on what they're going to try and do for a finish on this thing. But they're going to work their way through the S's and then see what happens in the sprint.
So we've just got about, I'd say, probably 2.5 kilometres up front. Is it still the same group of 3?
It's the same group of 3 at the front. They've now got a 10-second gap, just gone to 11 seconds. So I think the group behind have probably realised that they've missed their chance and they're not going to catch them now. So Gordon's just sitting in at the moment. It's mainly Carlito sitting on the front mostly. So they're just starting the S's uphill. So this is the next probably point where we might see an attack, see if any numbers start going up. Certainly going up the 6s and the 7s, but I'm not quite sure if it's an attack or just a tester to see who comes with them. We are seeing the red numbers now, 8s and 9s going up, but still these front 3, whether they're going to manage to break each other or not, or whether we'll finish with a sprint finish. And they're just as the top of the incline, Gordon's pushed over at 8 or 9 watts per kilo. He's got a slight gap, but only a second.
He will keep trying to attack.
He's got to keep the foot down if he wants to keep that gap away. Otherwise, it's going to bunch up.
I think if we had a most combative award, Gordon would certainly win it.
Yeah, that's certainly his 3rd or 4th attack on the inclines. And he's got more than the 5 metre gap now, so the chasing riders will need to fight through the draft, or no draft to catch him up. But there's 2 of them chasing. It's still got probably another K from here.
Just very quickly, for the last time, switched our man on the course, Ben Poynton. Ben, are you still feeling fairly comfortable and ready for the big sprint? Going to take that as a yes.
You've probably caught him as he's just entering the S's or something, so maybe not the best time, but okay.
Possibly not. Do you want to just take us through the final stages, Gordon?
I will do. I've just lost Gordon from the screen, so I'm not quite sure where he is, but we've still got the 2 chase riders, Carlito and a Chinese rider, Zhao, So they're both coming in about 4 or 5 watts per kilo. I said I'm not quite sure where Gordon's gone at the moment. He has been a couple of dropouts, so he might appear again. But at the moment, it looks like Carriglito was in first place, and they're just rolling in. They are up in the pace even more now, 5 or 6 watts per kilo, as we're just about to turn onto the start-finish straight.
Maybe that was Gordon's power-up as he went invisible.
It's possible. Oh no, he has appeared again, 2 seconds ahead.
Yep,
So
2 seconds ahead.
he is just entering the start-finish. It looks like he possibly have had a dropout here, though, so that's probably not the best of times. He's doing 0 watts at the moment. He's getting caught up by Carriglito. They've just passed him. And the Chinese rider is quite 20 metres back as well. So although we're predicted a sprint finish, this looks like it could be quite an easy finish for the Carlito. He is cruising home at 5-6 watts a kilo, having dropped both Gordon and the Chinese rider. So hopefully Gordon get some power back on and he will still finish in at least third place. Because there's another 30-40 seconds back to that second chase group, which looks like they've really, really slacked off. They know they're not catching them, so they have sat up a lot and only doing 2 or 3 watts per kilo.
I think the biggest question
he's still cruising at 19 miles an hour, 18 miles an hour.
He might still pass the line, yeah, but he seems like he's come to a complete standstill now, probably 200-300 meters from the line. So
tragic.
He might be better just to jump off the bike and start running at this point. So we'll see.
Well, we do have some red numbers. Schmansky's trying to hold on to his third place finish, and he's just getting past right here.
What's happened with Larry?
Larry, let's jump back to Larry here. Hold on 1 second. I'm jumping all around. Here we are. Larry's running in 16th. He's working through the S's, and it looks like he's all alone.
Yeah, I think he might have been dropped at the start of the S's, sadly. But he's still working his way there. He's only got just over a kilometre to go. But meanwhile, Ben Poynton is still in a smaller group that has broken up significantly. And we are seeing him just come towards the end of the S's. And he's down into the last kilometre now. And doing a great job. Lee, do you want to just quickly flick on to Ben and just call us through the final meters?
Yeah, it looks like we've got a little group of 5 here about ready to... Oh, there's 3 more chasing up behind. So it's going to be a nice little sprint finish here for this last 8th place position. They're just about heading down to the start-finish... Well, down to Ocean Boulevard, heading to the start-finish banner. Just coming underneath the bridge there.
About 500 meters to go.
They're working through it. Ben's looking good. He's in good position here. We're going to see some power numbers coming up here shortly. Where are they going to make the attack?
Certainly a big group watching there, Ben, on the front.
Yep.
I don't know what the plan is. Normally 200-300 meters out, we'll start seeing the numbers going up, I would have thought.
They just passed 300 meters. I would think that the break's going to come right about now. There we go. Going up to 9 watts. There go the power up.
Big push now.
Oh, I think he might have got 1 or 2 of them just on the line there. Wait for the results to come in, but looks very close.
Looks like Larry's going to have a fairly lonely finish back in 16th. But meanwhile, we've got Mark Fosbrook's group we have 4 riders here. There's a couple, actually 3 riders just in front, about 5 seconds. So we are at 19.3 kilometers, so 1k to go. Just going through the rollers. Mark is at the front of his little group of 4. Probably not the ideal place you want to be coming into the home straight, but it looks like they're just trading positions all over the place. And I can see Larry Japson's just sent a text to everyone to say, Last of Rollers is coming up now before we hang a right onto Ocean Boulevard and the start-finish straight for this race, but we're splitting a bit. Mark needs to push to make sure he doesn't lose this group.
Yep.
Looks like there's a bit of a battle already, even with about 900 meters to go. Just hitting the descent now. Mark's using his draft booster with no one around him.
Yeah, I think he maybe just got caught out. He was doing a good job of sitting on the back of the group there, but when the front went, the rider in front of him didn't manage to close that gap, so now he's got quite a job to try and catch anyone on the final sprint with no one to draft.
Oh, he's putting it down.
He is chasing. Yep.
3.5 watts a kilo down the hill. Is he closing at all? I think he is.
He is, but
this is going to be a long one.
It's going to be close, but I think there's not quite going to be enough distance. You never know. The riders in front are also sprinting as well, so it's going to be tough, but the gap is closing. Although he's getting caught from behind as well. T-Wolf looks like he's putting on quite a sprint.
Yeah, I think Mark might be content with his position now, and it looks like it's going to be even stations just in front. I think Tom might have just caught the guy in front, but Mark's just going to
stop coasting over the line. Yep.
Yep, and there he is. And with that, let's just quickly switch to Ben and see how he found. Ben, can you hear us this time? No, I think we might have lost Ben. Hopefully he's still alive. But
he may be hyperventilating.
But that is a very possible outcome. But a great sprint effort from Ben and a great effort from all of our riders. And a quick thank you to Damon Bates for providing us with this split screen action we've seen for the last few weeks. And a big thank you to all of our riders. A big thank you to Gordon Sloan and Lee Levy for joining me tonight. So with that, I will say thank you and good night.